everyone, welcome to yet another Confidence Leads to Success interview series. I have got a phenomenal woman here in the room with me, Jo Child. She is I can never say that word, revolutionize. Oh, can you help me please, Jo?
Revolutionising, is that the one we're going for?
Revolutionising the concept of networking. She's creating these events for women in business, but they're all fun, engaging, and far removed from those outdated, boring, stiff corporate attitudes. And I was at one of those last week, and it was amazing. I had fun, I ate yummy food, and I learned so much, and I felt inspired and empowered. And Jo created CoWomen proudly to take care of your social life while you take care of your business. And I have the honor to have her here with me. Hi, Jo.
Oh, thank you, Elif. Hi, I'm so glad you enjoyed last Thursday. It was a really nice night, wasn't it?
It was, and I love the way you approached the networking and how you created the CoWomen networking group for women to really be who they want to be. And I like how you're so acceptance. I'd love you to tell us why you are doing it. I know it, but I'd love my listeners to listen.
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to. Well, I guess give you a little bit of a backstory. My events history dates back the last 20 years. My degree was in hospitality and events. I've always worked in hotels, worked around events. And back in 2014, I decided to start my own business, working in events, and wasn't too sure which line of events I wanted to go into at the time, just knew that I wanted my own business. So I started networking myself and hated the experience of networking. It was awful. It was just so boring. It was people stood around, it was business card swapping, it was saying, what do you do? And everyone, if you ask 50 people in a room, what do you do? Inevitably you will glaze over, right? You stop listening,
Exactly.
you stop paying attention. There was no personality behind it. There was a lot of hard pitching, hard selling, and what we know now, we're very progressive now, and we know that people buy from people. You don't remember people because they've given you a business card and pitched to you for a minute. So it just none of it was just making sense. It didn't sit very well. And so that led to me thinking, okay, I want to do my own events. And I focused on ethical businesses for a while, so eco-friendly events. And back in 2019, I held a festival at the Level in Brighton, Clever Green Festival. And that was great as well. But then as time's gone on, I've really found that my personal passion is to help women. So as time's gone on, I've really just focused on all of the issues that women face, not just in networking, but in business generally. And so I rebranded 2 months before lockdown.
As you do.
And that was a challenge. So I'm supporting women now, and it's exactly as you say. It's a social platform for bringing women together, making business fun, working on communications with each other and building relationships, and looking at networking in a holistic way. So we don't do anything to separate the person from the business. Everything's all about talking about our everyday lives, what it really means to be a woman in business, to get that support. And some of the things that have come up and arisen from that are really important things like, celebrating neurodiversity and the way in which women work. I think in the last few years, there's been a lot of being part of the 5 a.m. club, or having to slay your day and having to be positive every single day. And these things for a lot of people, they're just not sustainable, particularly neurodiverse people, myself included. I have ADHD and PMDD, so I have various days throughout the month where I simply cannot
don't know what happened, but something kicked us both out. You're muted, honey. You're muted. There you go.
I thought maybe I was just waffling too much, Elif, and you thought, right, I've got to go. I've had enough.
No, you were talking the truth of networking and how boring it can be, and especially people who are at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
What it felt like in the early days for me. I used to feel terrified to having to stand and in turn tell my pitch and tell people what do I do. Yes, it was good to be able to do that, because it kind of I knew that I had to sharpen myself to be able to do it better, but I was the stronger candidate. But some of us aren't. Some of us are shy. Some of us need different kind of attention. And I can see exactly what you're trying to do there. For me, it took me 20 or 30 networking events before I could actually speak the way I would speak, rather than what expected for me to be, So I love what you're doing. It's so wonderful.
It's so true. And I think the important thing to realize is that the more we talk about this, the more we realize that we're not alone. We're not alone in those feelings. Everyone experiences imposter syndrome at one time or another. Yeah. And the absolute best way to move on from that is to talk about it. But you need to feel that you have that space to talk about it, that you're not walking into an environment where everyone expects you to have your shit together already. Yeah. It's fine to go into a networking environment and say, use the expertise around you. I think you mentioned on Thursday, it's really important to have women around you that inspire you and that you can look up to, but who aren't intimidating. You need to be able to walk into a room and say, I'm feeling a little bit unbalanced about my business, or my confidence is lacking in this area, and know that there are a group of women that are ready to say, okay, well, let us help you, let us support you, let's go through that, let's find the resources, or have the skill swapping. But if you walk into an environment that feels cold, you won't have the courage to ask. So it's just about having that platform where it's like, come in, whatever you're feeling, whatever insecurities you're feeling, bring them to the table and let's deal with them. And that's how women help women, isn't it? So
it is very important. I mean, this is one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do these interview series virtually. As much as I like organizing events and being with people in person, is nothing like it. And it was nothing like giving you a big hug on Thursday evening.
Definitely.
And listening to each other and feeling emotional at times. That's, let me tell you, ladies, how it was. We just walked into almost like your best friend's house for an evening meal. And one of us was so happy to share her experience and her knowledge in her business to, again, inspires us and encourage us. And there was moments that we cried. There was moments that we laughed, literally. And we had a conversation where your butt was clenching, and there was conversations that you were crossing your legs because you were laughing so hard that you wouldn't wet yourself. You do that after you have a baby.
Very true.
So it's that these kind of networking events are actually making you feel like you're human. You are a real woman who has got period pains, who has got problems, who has got PMTs, but it's okay to feel that way, basically.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Yeah, hit the nail on the head. It's just about being the whole woman, not having to hide any part of yourself. Yeah. And as I talked about on Thursday, being okay with having fun with your business as well.
Yeah, we're having joy with it.
Yeah, having joy with it, and making those inappropriate jokes that we made on Thursday, and just being the whole woman is really important.
So our business, I think what happens is a lot of women put off being an entrepreneur, and I'd love them to be, because we are so good at it. Our skills of being able to think out the box, being able to manage two tasks at the same time, and manage teams. We manage house, ladies. If you manage a house, you can manage a business. Isn't that true?
Oh, it's so, being a woman is putting out fires left, right and centre, isn't it? And it's having eyes in the back of your head to know what your children need, and being able to see problems before they happen so that you can prevent them. And yeah, we're very good at wearing lots of hats.
Yeah, I like that with CoWomen organization that you created, that where women can actually feel confident and knowing that they can be perfectly imperfect, and they will still be okay, and there won't be people judging them. In fact, there'll be people supporting them, rather than just going, oh, she's not really good. She doesn't even know how to make a pitch. It's not that. If it's anything, you would say this would actually help you explain your business better.
And perfectly imperfect is preferable, right? Because we all want somebody who's relatable.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we're walking into a room and we think something's, you know, pitch perfect and polished and immaculate every single time, it makes you shrink a little bit. So we want to see the flaws, we want to celebrate them, we want to know that everyone is human just like we're human. So I think that's really important. And it's a really good story to share the kind of not so good days. You know, that's what makes you relatable and human and an enjoyable person to listen to as well, I think.
Exactly. I'm going to ask you something. I know CoWomen is, as a platform, is a sex worker friendly, and I know you really shout these out. Why is it very important to you to create these more friendly?
Well, first of all, it's important that everyone knows that in the UK that sex work is completely legal. It is a business. It's very interesting, the kind of laws around sex work. You can register with HMRC as a sex worker, but you can't get a business bank account. So that's something that needs to change. That's something that we need to campaign for. And I think these women, these very powerful women that have this business that they work very hard on, they need to be recognised in our community and accepted into our community. And, you know, the best way of keeping these women safe is by giving them the business resources and the community and the support from a big group of women, you know. So I think it's really important that
they need an accountant, don't they?
They need an accountant, of course. Exactly. Yeah, you know, they work hard, they pay their taxes just like everyone else. So I feel really passionate that they have the absolute right as a woman making that choice, that's what they're doing in their life, to call themselves a woman in business. So I think that my platform needs to be accessible to them as it is to any other woman in business. So yeah,
I like that, because I don't think I've seen any other networking group that would actually talk about it even openly if they did accept it.
Yeah,
I don't even
know. It's quite a bold step, because inevitably people will be turned off, I think, from potentially wanting to join if that's something that I actively promote. But I'm a little bit bring it on, you know, I'm okay with that. So I think it makes me stand out. And I think I do consider myself a feminist. So I know there are some feminist views that sex work isn't a feminist job, which I completely disagree. I think, why shouldn't we have autonomy over our own bodies? So yeah, I just think it's really important to bring those women in and support them with a business platform. And I'm glad to be paving the way with that.
I love it. And you also want to really influence the business world to accommodate for more neurodiversity. Yeah,
definitely. Well, as I was saying earlier, it's like the ways of working. You know, the ideology of working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, dates back to agriculture and farming. You know, it's not even relevant now, yet we seem to feel that we have to squeeze ourselves into this box of working 9 to 5 every day, and it simply doesn't work for many people. You know, when I've asked out in my community, quite a few of the women, their best working hours are from 11 at night till 3 in the morning. And it's just one of those that you too, yeah, so you can relate to that, you know. So we're all incredibly different, whether that's neurodiversity or any other kind of health issues. It's just about using common sense, opening our eyes, and just not trying to pigeonhole people or make them
putting people into boxes is what I think stops people shining.
Yeah.
for what they want to be and who they really are. I mean, I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I have got my hand in so many different boxes. I go in and out the boxes. I have got so many boxes, and I'm never going to get rid of all of them. Why
Yeah,
would
I
you?
hear that one.
Why would you? I mean, I just, I like, like you said, I like working in the evening, especially when it comes to my blog writing, creating new things. My brain seemed to work better in the evening, especially when everybody's in bed.
Yeah. We have different times of the day which work really well for the deep work, the creative work, and then other times of the day where you just get that niggly admin done.
Do
So
you
yeah,
think
really
people can actually identify that?
I think with a bit of reading up and a bit of awareness, and again talking about it, I've learned so much from talking to the other women in my network of like, oh, that's not just me then. I was so convinced that I was the only crackers one, and like, no, everybody's crackers, and everyone's got their own version of crackers, and it's brilliant and it's beautiful and it's colourful.
Exactly.
And the more you talk, you pick up ways of making that work for you as well. Like people say, oh, I've actually tried this. We've talked a lot about the Pomodoro technique, which works really well for people with ADHD, setting that timer, like this is the task I want to do, this is the time that I want to do it in. And every Wednesday we have online co-working. So we generally tend to save up that one task that we don't want to do, whether it's doing our monthly bookkeeping, and we'll come along on the Wednesday afternoon and we'll set the timer and we'll do it together and we'll smash it and we'll get it done. So yeah, it's amazing how much you realise how much you have in common the more you just talk about it.
That's right. It is so true. When you share whatever that is you're holding inside you, and you think that if I share this, people will think I'm a weirdo. You will hear like, oh, really? I am too. And then you'll be like, oh, really? Why did I keep that all secret for all these
years?
It's
just about being proud to be a weirdo, It's like having that space to go, okay, well, we're all a little bit weird and that's okay. So
yeah, there is no perfect. There's no textbook woman out there.
There's not.
It just doesn't exist. And I like that how you share. I mean, having ADHD, it's not, it's not like, it's not an illness, the way that people share it as if like, but you're running a business, you have a whole organization that you're helping other women to do it. So because you have neurodiversity issues, you don't need to feel like you don't belong to a networking group, or you can't do certain job, or you can't be somewhere.
Well, that's where it's really interesting, because I've just been talking to another lady who has an ADHD platform just before I spoke to you, and she highlighted an article in the local Telegraph which talked about how ADHD is now a fad and people are jumping on the bandwagon, and any neurotypical person is not going to go and do months and months of research and identify as something, which is, let's be honest, on some days absolutely debilitating. So yeah, I do have this platform and I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of what I've built. I do also have days where my neurodiversity is really difficult to manage. And it's very difficult for a lot of women to manage. And you're actually 300 times more likely to be an entrepreneur if you have ADHD, because you don't work. You can't. I can't be told what to do, Elif, by anybody. Like anyone who's ever tried, it's just never going to work.
I would never dare.
I have to make my own rules. I have to work at the times that work for me. Brain fog. I don't know if you've heard about brain fog with ADHD, but it's very real and it's very debilitating. And if you have a day of brain fog and you need to be in an office as an employee, but your brain is completely shut down for the day, that's not going to work.
You're not even going to be productive.
Yeah, and then the way that our superpowers kick in and that we make up for that is that then we have really long extended periods of hyperfocus, and that's when we get the work done. So if you were to look at, say, on a chart of how people work, so you've got the 9 to 5 people, and then you have the neurodiverse people, they might have a whole day where they have brain fog or they don't work, but the actual hours of productivity over the course of a week will probably be the same. Does that make sense? Because
It
you have
does.
people going into like a 9-to-5 job. Just because they're there 9 to 5 doesn't mean that they're concentrating that entire time.
No.
Or that they're using those hours productively. So one thing that you learn with ADHD is how to use your time productively when that time's gifted to you, when your brain is working. And you learn to manage that really well.
I love it. I love that you're sharing this, because it will, I'm sure it will inspire somebody think they can't do it. They will
I
be
hope so.
better.
Yeah.
They'll be better in what they're doing. Okay. I know your membership is not something that you can just hop on and off to any time, but you launch them, and you get membership signing, and then you close it because you want to work with every member closely. So do you have any membership coming up soon, and how can people actually do it if they wanted to?
Yeah. So our second generation launch is coming next month in December, and so each launch that we have runs for 2 months, runs for 8 weeks, and it just means that over that course of the 8 weeks, because membership is very admin heavy, as I'm sure you know, and it's just really nice to spend that time bringing those people in and making sure that they don't get lost in the system. Because if you have a membership that's open all year round, then inevitably you won't really get to know everyone. And I'm, as big as I'm hoping that this will get, I've had big dreams of this being a global platform. I still want to know every single member. I want to know the people that are there.
So is this kind of 8 weeks of like almost brainstorming for your business? To make
it's just when the membership doors open, so it's giving everyone a starting point without it being too busy, so that everyone has a chance to come in. And it's not really about, the membership isn't about talking about what CoWomen does, it's about bringing the women in to make those really valuable introductions, having that time, having those 8 weeks to really get to know each member and find out what skill swapping they can do, how they can benefit each other, what resources they can offer. Before it gets too big so that everyone becomes faceless. It's like how you said about last Thursday. It was a quiet, intimate event, and every woman had the chance to get to know each woman there. And that's what the membership is. It's bringing someone in so that we can really get to know that person, run it for 8 weeks, then close the doors again. Then we have that time for that community to get to know each other. Then when we open the doors again, we're all there, we know each other already, and we're ready to bring new members in and get to know them too.
So you're ready to help the next person to feel more confident, which is where I come into. I love having women who is confidence. So I'm going to ask this question before I let you go. It's my last question. What does confidence mean to you?
Oh, it's such a nuanced thing, isn't it? Confidence means to me, I think, confidence is showing your flaws and sharing your, as we said, those imperfections. And confidence is just, it sounds so cliche, but it really is just being yourself. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. I often say that confidence is quiet and insecurity is loud, because if you feel like you need to shout, then you're putting on a mask or you're hiding behind something. I think confidence is quite still. It's a quiet motion. It's being self-preserved, and it's just having that air that you're okay, and that you're and having the confidence to help others. I think if you're at a point in your business where you're ready to help other women, that's a real confidence thing. That's really paving the way and sharing your skills with others. So
love that. Ladies, pave the way, be courageous leaders to inspire other women to be on their driver's seat. It's very important. Jo, it has been a great pleasure to have you.
Oh, it's been lovely. Thank you so much for inviting me.
It is so good. As you know, everyone, as a fashion designer myself, and I started coaching business owners, especially fashion business owners who always second guess yourself that they can't do what they want to do. I always say, confidence is not knowing it all. Confidence is knowing that you don't know it all, but you still want to get on with it and do it. because you will always have people around you who